What's up folks, Jack here with another video here to check out some more from the Pointless Hope channel. This time around, we are checking out a video on when Hollywood made two Asteroid movies the same year. You know me, at least for those of you who are familiar with the channel, I have a degree in astrophysics, so this is my jam. And I have watched both of these movies, Deep Impact as well as Armageddon, and I would just say that I have a bias towards Deep Impact because it takes kind of the situation somewhat seriously, despite the fact that there are shortcomings with both of them. But like, Armageddon is just too goofy for me. Like, we went through the Bayiverse, right? Because Armageddon is obviously a Bay movie. And unlike with the Transformers movies, I don't quite have the ability to switch my brain off when I have to watch something or rewatch something like Armageddon. Because it's just too silly. But I do understand that that movie has that much of a cult following because obviously it was during the era of Bruce Willis where he was just too grandiose. Like Arnold, Stallone, Richard Gere, Pacino, these were people whose namesake alone will sell movies at the time. So I'm pretty sure that they chose him as the protagonist there simply to sell the movie. And of course, on the other side you have Elijah Woods actually, and yeah, god damn, that was Elijah Woods. And Morgan Freeman to do what he does best, exposition, and just sell a hopeless, sad movie. But before I go too far on a rant, we have the take here from Cody, who's gonna explain to us how this all came about.
Imagine you're a Hollywood studio. You want to make a movie about, I don't know, monster cows or something. Everyone loves the monster cow idea. You greenlight the movie, put millions of dollars into this fresh idea, but then, that's when you find out. Another studio's making a monster cow movie too.
If it's A24, then it's gonna be better. Well, despite the fact that they too are growing to the size of, like, you know, just like in the video game industry, they are becoming a bit more like a AAA studio now, but they're still delivering a lot of quality. Anyways.
How did this happen? Did they steal the idea? Was it just a coincidence?
Nope.
Doesn't matter now. I guess we just got two monster cow movies releasing in the same exact year. Matter now. I guess
in the same time as Justice League, okay.
We just got two monster cow movies releasing in the same exact year. These are called twin films. Sometimes Hollywood just makes two movies about the same idea in the same year. Sometimes—
Oh! I know I'm pausing a lot quickly here, but STV. Oh, I have forgotten about this one. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. Yeah, literally the one where they're filming his life, just like they do in the Truman Show. But this STV was inspired by a Canadian show, right? So like there's actually a TV show that it drew inspiration from. Yeah, we get to see these things happen once in a while, right? Shark Tales did something similar. It was released at the same time, the Will Smith movie, at the same time as Finding Nemo. The Illusionist and The Prestige. Oh my days, The Prestige. One of my favorite movies that Nolan has ever made. Yeah, similar thing.
Same year. Sometimes script ideas just float around and are picked up by studios. Other times executives take ideas with them to their new job.
Oh.
It's a thing that happens for some reason, and I find it incredibly funny. Like how Bug's Life is about an outcast inventor finally using his abilities to save his home. And how Ants is about Woody Allen in Starship Troopers.
Oh,
the year is 1998, a year which had literally every good game ever made, American Godzilla, and for some reason, two movies about the Earth getting hit with an asteroid. Deep Impact and Armageddon. Two films see humanity facing an apocalyptic threat. An asteroid, or comet, is about to hit the planet, and a small band of astronauts have to stop it. That is where the similarity between these movies ends. Yeah, this isn't gonna be like that White House video at all, where they're pretty similar with some minor differences.
Oh shit, I've gotten this video recommended to me. It's literally right there in the recommendation. White House Downs and Olympus Has Fallen with Gerard Butler? Yeah. I have not watched either of those movies. I don't know why. They just seem just too campy for me. But yeah, I might check that video out as well.
Oh no, these movies couldn't be farther apart in tone.
We can't do anything about the little one, but, you know, it just might give them a chance.
Colonel! That thing's coming right forward! We got to move!
Deep Impact begins with Elijah Wood discovering a comet. A comet that's going to hit the Earth. Nobody knows it yet, though. Except for this guy. But for some reason, he decides to text and drive, and his car goes right off a cliff, and he fucking explodes. There's a real lesson there somewhere.
Yeah.
Our real protagonist is this journalist lady named Jenny, who works for MSNBC. Yes, that MSNBC. You're gonna see a lot of MSNBC in this movie. They needed the promotion. They wouldn't have that guy with the board for like 20 more years.
They weren't bought off yet.
Afoot. The Secretary of the Treasury resigned. Apparently, the Secretary has been wrapped up in someone called Ellie. Is Ellie his mistress? The first 30 minutes are just her investigating this political scandal of a top government official in the executive branch cheating on his wife.
Congratulations.
Dr. Disrespect.
You now have the biggest story in history.
Fun fact, the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke in January 1998, and this movie came out in May. Talk about some timing.
For fuck's sake, listen. I know that occasionally Bill Clinton gets the good old US Open meme made about him. About the flyer or zipper on his pants, but like Monica Lewinsky went through so much harassment for 2 decades almost before these whole shenanigans sort of like faded away, and now I've just been reminded about it. Like, she was featured in so many rappers' songs. I literally made a video about fucking, I'm sorry for cursing right now, Kanye West, when he has bars about her. Like, come on, man. Poor thing.
Biggest story in history? What an ego. Now, if it was the president.
Anyway, while investigating these extramarital shenanigans, Jenny finds herself wrapped up in something far, far bigger. She gets kidnapped by President Morgan Freeman and is told to shut up until they get a press conference around. While investigating further, Jenny finds out that Ellie might not have been a side girl at all, but perhaps might have meant ELE, or Extinction Level Event. Ooh. It's so funny she discovers this by just doing an internet search. Which literally only gets one option on the
As I said, the movie has its shortcomings.
Page. What a simpler time. I like these first 40 minutes. Enjoy the mystery of it. I mean, yeah, we know what the government is hiding. We all know what movie we're watching. But it's a decent way of building up tension. Having the protagonist uncover the information. The secretary basically admits the world's gonna end and it goes right over Jenny's head. I like stuff like that. And then, the mystery dies.
Yep.
The president just lore dumps to everyone what's going on. Morgan Freeman expositions to the audience, a comet is coming, this is where comets come from, this is what we named the comet.
Wolf Biederman.
Introduces the astronauts who are going to blow up the comet, just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
In all fairness, I'm gonna say this, in all fairness, this is how seriously it should have been taken. And like, if you're going into a movie like this and you see Morgan Freeman already there, you know that he's gonna do some exposition. Number 2, the seriousness of the situation, except for these bumbling idiots, is fair. But obviously, it's only the Morgan Freeman part that is well done. That's the gripe that I have with this movie. Because this is the astrophysicist that is coming forth here. You need to understand that when a comet is actually headed to us to have an actual impact, we are freaking the fuck out because we have no way of diverting them. None whatsoever. Because mind you, this movie's impact had the size of, I want to say, like a small city. Like, was it 7 miles? So like 11 kilometers. Right? 7.5. Yeah, 11 kilometers. Meaning that it was a slight bit larger than the Chicxulub, the thing that killed the dinosaurs. 65 million years ago. Do you understand this? Okay? There's no way that we can survive this. We cannot use, I don't know, the sunlight to deflect it or whatever. Paint it or... No! There's not a chance. And can we blow it up? I don't think so. So the tone that this movie was going for was obviously hopelessness, and that was fair. When something like that's approaching the Earth, we're all just doomed. We might just as well try to adopt the point of don't look up and make things as just dark as possible. But then of course, this movie does it in a weird way. Some of it works, some of it just doesn't.
Hey look, it's Jon Favreau. From this point on, this is now just an entirely different movie. Jenny gets relegated to news anchor for the rest of the film. The only thing she has to deal with anymore is parental drama. Her mom and dad are divorced, and she's not taking it well. The whole second act really follows the astronauts, and for some reason, they're introduced as arrogant jerks. They're the new hotshots that think they're better than their old commander, Robert Duvall, an older veteran who literally went to the moon.
I got respect for everybody who's gone to the moon, but this mission ain't going to the moon.
That's right. Frank Gifford, he was a great football player in his time, but if he played now, he'd get his ass busted.
Let's go tell your mom.
Sorry, the Apollo program? That's old news.
Fuck you.
We're the new generation. We practice on simulations running Windows 95. Why did they do that? It's so odd to introduce them like this. Real people, especially highly trained astronauts, would not act like this. I get what the movie's trying to do. They're jerks at the start, but through adversity, they come to appreciate Robert Duvall later on. But the arrogance is laid on so thick at the beginning that I just kind of dislike these characters now.
Yeah.
And it's not a video game, son.
Hell, we're not even halfway through the film, so I know they're gonna fail anyway.
It's not a video game, son.
Then the rest of the movie is them learning to respect their commander while floating out in space. Glad they all learned the important lesson of not being rude to old people. Except for Jon Favreau, he's fucking dead. With the nuke plan failing, Morgan Freeman announces Plan B, shooting The Rock with even more nukes. I find it even funnier how well the general public is taking this news.
There will be enough of us left to rebuild a new world in the unlikely event that the comets do strike the Earth.
Like,
somebody just coughs in the background and nobody freaks out at all. Again, the tone sometimes doesn't hit.
Morgan Freeman tells everyone that if the meteor does hit, the world's gonna end. And they can only put less than 1 million people into underground bunkers. Imagine if the president went on today and just told Americans they were all going to die. You think they'd be this calm? There's riots in other countries, I guess, but not America.
Yeah, it's mentioned in passing. That is so dumb.
The most armed population in the world, and everyone just stands outside these well-known bunkers only to be slightly sad. Other than exposition, Morgan Freeman really doesn't do much. Just sits around waiting for plans to fail. Remember how Elijah Wood discovered that comet? Well, he's got a whole subplot here. I'm assuming they wanted to show a normal person's perspective on the whole situation. But it's not really done very well. There's an underage wedding. That's kind of odd.
Oh shit!
Okay, so Elijah Wood and his family
I've
got
forgotten
accepted
about this.
into the government bunker because he discovered the comet, right?
Yeah.
Well, he wants his little girlfriend and her family to join them too, which is why the whole underage marriage thing happens.
But the government
US
find
government
out.
saw through that clever disguise and forces her parents to stay behind.
Aw.
So she does too. So Frodo and his family reach the bunker, but right before he goes in, he realizes that he needs to go back and save her.
That's some moonful shit right there. Just like the main character there and Halle Berry. Holy shit, I just remembered that I left my son behind. What, you have a son too? I know that we are absolutely the worst parents ever.
Somehow.
I have to go back for Sarah. Leah. Mom, I'm going.
Kinda seems like a decision you should have made before getting on the bus, but oh well. He's confident though that he can go back and get her somehow before the comet hits. His parents hear this plan and just let him do it.
Yep.
I'm gonna make it.
they don't even argue against this idea, which is certainly fatal. His very own father looks at his 14-year-old and goes, okay, have fun. Even if his parents believed he could save her, neither of them go back with him to make sure he finds her safely. Or, survives. They all just go into the bunker.
Nope.
The world is literally ending and they just wave their kid off on a journey across Middle-earth, staying behind in the actually safest place you could possibly be. After the missiles fail, Morgan Freeman gets on TV and just tells everyone they're gonna die.
And there's nothing we can do to stop them.
Would you say it's time for everyone to panic?
Yeah.
Yes, I would, Ken.
He is just not holding back.
So this is it. The world does go on. It will not go on for everyone.
Why does this remind me of like a skit from like Key and Peele? Like, good morning, America. I just wanted to tell you that me, Michelle, the kids, and Bo are all here in the bunker, sitting safely, while you all are dying. Holy shit.
Most of Deep Impact is about the emotions of it all. Preparing for the inevitable, reflecting on the end. Do we reconcile with family despite past grievances? Or do we straight up off ourselves like Jenny's mom did?
Oh shit, she killed herself
Jenny's
too!
mom's entire arc is just so depressing.
Bro, she just gave up. Divorce. My husband's cheating on me. No, he did not cheat. He went with a younger woman. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling shit here. She just said no. Fuck this movie, I'm out.
Her husband leaves her for a younger woman, right? Basically destroys their family for no good reason. And when she hears the news that nobody over the age of 50 will be let into the bunkers, she just gives up and ends it all. So after that first detonation failed, the comet split in two, with a smaller fragment of the comet going to hit Earth before the bigger one does. And the smaller fragment actually does hit right into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Whenever anyone actually remembers Deep Impact, this is the scene they remember.
Yeah.
Jenny decides to give up her place at the bunker to save her friend. She decides to reunite with her dad on the beach they once went to as a family. They share one final moment together as the wave comes in. Fans of the movie really like this scene. I get it. But this just makes her mom's death even worse. Like, her mom died alone and depressed, all because of her dad.
I feel like an orphan.
Yet at the end of the movie, Jenny just does a 180 so we could have this final scene.
Daddy.
I don't know, maybe if they didn't have the mom die like that, this wouldn't leave such a bad taste in my mouth.
Listen, folks, I want to cast a petition to make this lady right there like S tier on a list of like the saddest deaths in disaster movies. Like, how do we start it? Like, bottom tier, like F tier, we have like Woody Harrelson from the 2012 movie, right? His death that was absolutely ridiculous. Second, we have Grant from Independence Day. E would be Jack from the Titanic movie. D, we have the, I don't know, the random dude that lost his life in The Happening, just sitting there in front of a lawnmower. And C, we have, oh shit, here's a movie that he has yet to cover. Freaking Geostorm, the chick that did not want to save her boyfriend at the beach there in Brazil. Like, I know that I'm choosing some goofy stuff right there, and you might be wondering, hey, but Jack, isn't the death of Jack in Titanic sad? Pfft, no. B, I will go with Frank from 28 Days Later, and or that guy who throws himself immediately in The Day After Tomorrow, because that was freaking shocking. And A, let's say David from Interstellar, you know, the guy who, he did not die, but he waited on that space shuttle for 23 years. Yeah, he might just as well as have offed himself. And then, of course, her mom in S tier. God damn, I'm diabolical.
Have her die in an accident or something. Fall down the stairs. Slip on an ice cube. Where was I? Oh yeah, Elijah Wood dirt bikes up a mountain to escape a tsunami. The astronauts sacrifice themselves to destroy the bigger comet, and everyone is saved. You know, except for the ones that weren't.
Yep. Dude,
Humanity may be battered, millions may have died, but at the end of the day, the federal government of the United States survived.
Yep.
But isn't that all that really matters?
You don't trust the man you're working with.
Oh my god. See, then comes this thing right here that is just looking at the whole situation and being like, nah, we gotta have fun with it. Like, I get it at this point. Wait, no! Okay, I'm going to let him make the reveal right there because I just realized something extremely stupid about it. Oh my god. Okay. People always say this about me, okay? Because I know my movies. The one that I know that I've seen, I'm pretty certain about. So people have the tendency of coming forth and being like, oh, you've already watched the fucking video. No, I have not. So I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let him explain. Because I just fucking realized something about this damn movie that is even stupider.
Good as dead.
Armageddon begins with all the dinosaurs on fire. This is a movie called Armageddon. This is what the Earth is gonna look like unless Bruce Willis stops it.
65 million years ago, the thing that went over there, the Chicxulub. And I'm very much hoping that I'm pronouncing it correctly, or else I'll be looking like a fool.
But in case that didn't go through your thick skull, here's the space shuttle exploding.
Michael
Hell,
Bay.
New York explode too, especially this guy. They really did this guy dirty. All he was trying to do was protect his Godzilla, and he gets absolutely obliterated. At least the tower survived. There's an asteroid on the way, and they got 18 days to stop it. All the nerds have dumb suggestions, except for Lucius Malfoy, who says that to destroy the asteroid, you're gonna have to drill into the center and blow it up from the inside. There's only one man for the job, and that's Bruce Willis. In the movie, he's actually named Harry, but it's a lot funnier to say Bruce Willis. Harry/Bruce Willis is an undersea oil driller. And I'm not even joking, the way they introduce him is as he's shooting golf balls at Greenpeace protesters. Joke's on him though, Ben Affleck's banging his daughter.
Yep. The Transylvania thing. That's good.
What a way to introduce these characters. This is just the first 15 minutes, by the way. In the same span of time, Jenny was interviewing the Secretary of the Treasury.
Turn the camera off.
Meanwhile, Armageddon is doing this.
I love her. Way wrong answer!
So yeah, the plan is simple. Get the best drillers in the world, shoot them up into
Rock and
space,
stone.
plant the nuke, hope for the best. Billy Bob Thornton and Keith David now have to make sure Bruce Willis and his gang of morons are up to the task of deep space travel. Let's introduce our little Suicide Squad, shall we? There's Chick, Harry's number 2. He's divorced and a gambling addict.
Yep.
Steve Buscemi is a sex pest.
Steve Buscemi. God fucking damn it. This dude, every damn role, he has to be a pervert.
Max is fat. Michael Clark Duncan is Michael Clark Duncan. And Owen Wilson is here too.
Oh
Who I
man.
entirely forgot was in this.
He dies. But Michael Clark Duncan, oh my god, rest in peace.
He fucking dies. Will these chuckle nuts have what it takes to save the world? Who's to say? Half the movie is them on Earth doing wacky hijinks preparing to go to space, and the other half is them being in space. Also, there's that weird scene in the middle with the animal crackers.
I forgot about this with Liv Tyler. I don't want to close my eye. Oh my god. Music made by her dad. That's nasty. That's nasty. See, we talked about Jenny's mom, right? Were I to be Steven Tyler, and I found out, because I don't know, I will guess that he knew, but were I to find out that my song was made to be played in a scene like this with my daughter in it, sing with me, sing for me.
You know the one. If Deep Impact was an intellectual nerd, Armageddon was the jock shoving that nerd in the locker. Deep Impact treated the entire situation of an outer space object potentially hitting the Earth in a quasi-scientific and all-around serious manner. Meanwhile, Armageddon went, "Holy shit, there's rocks fucking falling from space." I like Deep Impact. I appreciate what it's trying to do. Explore an end-of-the-world scenario in a grounded way.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Those behind the film tried their very best to be as scientifically accurate as possible.
Yeah.
And that's respectable.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't perfect, it's the thought that counts. If someone says they like Deep Impact more, I get it. With that said, though, I f***ing love Armageddon so much more, man.
This is so much fun, it's freaky.
You know this channel, you should have seen this coming.
Of course.
It's a Michael Bay movie, like of course I was gonna pick it. Even after I'm done with Bayformers, I still can't escape him.
Dude has a parasocial relationship with the dude, man.
Parasocial relationship between me and Bay.
I'm gonna shut up. Let me take a bite of an apple here. Mute myself so I keep my mouth shut.
Getting with that video about Transformers 2007, that was ironically not my first Michael Bay film. This was. Even to this day, when I think about Michael Bay action, Armageddon is what mainly pops into my mind. Hell, since I brought up Transformers, so many Bay elements that are famous in those movies have origins in this one. Shots that were recycled, asteroids, Michael Bay's obsession with NASA, ethnic stereotypes. Wait,
oh shit.
Fuck. Is Armageddon the beta test of Transformers, like the Halo Macworld demo? Or is Transformers an evolution of Armageddon? Certainly something to think about. As much as someone can argue that Deep Impact is the better film, it's certainly not as interesting to talk about. Unless you want to compare it to this, of course. Hell, just compare these two openings. Deep Impact's is silent, a white, clean font on the night sky, and Armageddon starts with the extinction of the f***ing dinosaurs. Even the title explodes. The comet in Deep Impact is discovered by a couple of nerds doing astronomy stuff. And when they spot it, they have at least a couple of years to prepare for its arrival.
Which is the way that it would be done, okay? Like, you know, the main way that we spot asteroid is by checking first and foremost the main asteroid belt, right? Between Jupiter and Mars. That's where most of the asteroids that we have are lying. Of course, we have some NEOs here and there, i.e. near-Earth objects, for where they're like, I want to say 20 or 30,000 or so asteroids that we have, as of now, catalogued. So the way that we usually just find them out is just by looking at the sky, comparing pictures of the night sky and the background. If there is an object that moved, then we know that it's not just a star from far away, it's something that is in proximity moving along there. So yeah, it's pretty accurate.
The asteroid in Armageddon does a sneak attack.
There's a breach in the atmosphere from Finland down the North American seaboard.
It's only when the space shuttle explodes and when New York City is an absolute devastation,
so dumb.
When anybody at NASA notices that an asteroid is about to hit in 2 weeks. An asteroid the size of Texas.
This is the thing that I did not want to say, okay? Because people are gonna be like, oh Jack, you do... Bruv, I remember that this movie took the idea of Deep Impact, okay? Deep Impact, 7 miles, believable. Let me compose myself here. Something like, let's say, I'm gonna abbreviate it, the KT extension event that killed the dinosaurs happens around every 100,000 years or so. So within our lifetime, absolutely not. That's not gonna happen. But the magnitude of the impact is fucking insane. Like, I don't know how many of you were awake during the time that the Chelyabinsk asteroid just passed through and in Russia there and lit up the night sky because it was burning through the atmosphere. But that thing was like 21 meters wide in diameter. And obviously, not a lot of damage happened, but it blew up some windows for people who were not prepared for the shockwave that happened there. But an example, the one in Arizona, the Barringer asteroid, right? 50,000 years old. That thing struck with enough power to be the equivalent of, I believe, 600 times Hiroshima. That thing was 50 meters wide. Okay? So I let you imagine the thing that killed the dinosaurs, why that was an extinction event. And that thing was 10 kilometers in diameter. They put something the size of Texas. Texas, a country. I'm just gonna shut up, okay? For European standards, it's literally like throwing Germany and more at the planet. Because there's no math here. There's nothing that could destroy this. I reacted to a video by Kurskusad not too long ago about the thing that the Hungarian scientists did, Project Sundial. That was supposed to be like, I think it was a billion megaton of TNT, and that wouldn't even get the job done. So like, there is no math to be put here to make this work. Just to clarify. And that's why perhaps I cannot switch my brain off, because this is just too fucking stupid.
My personal favorite comparison is the very name of the bodies themselves. Deep Impact names its comet after those that discovered it. The combined name of Wolf Biederman. A realistic and kind of boring name, but it fits the tone of the film.
Yeah.
I could imagine actual scientists of the 90s naming this thing. Armageddon's asteroid, on the other hand, is named Dottie, named by this guy after his bitch wife.
I want to name her Dottie after my wife. She's a vicious, life-sucking bitch from which there is no escape.
What's the one thing people always make fun of Armageddon for? What's the most common joke everyone says that many are probably commenting right now? It's the classic question, why send oil drillers into space instead of just teaching astronauts how to dig?
Why do you even care about this? At this point, what's the point? What's even the point?
Haha, being an astronaut is a far harder job than being an oil driller, so this movie is stupid. Michael Bay, you dumb fool.
You fucking idiot.
There's an often repeated story about how in the DVD commentary, Ben Affleck just makes fun of the whole premise of the movie.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up.
Yes, how hilarious. That's what makes this movie so silly. Nobody ever talks about how fucking big the asteroid is. Okay, so in Deep Impact, the comet was 7 miles wide. The size of the one that killed the dinosaurs, which was about 10. You know how big the asteroid in Armageddon is? 600 miles. 600 miles wide. That's not an asteroid, that's a moon. That's almost the size of Pluto. Dottie wouldn't be jagged and pointy. It wouldn't have a weird cloud of evil surrounding it. It'd be a sphere.
Exactly, which doesn't even fucking make sense. Like, okay. About to lose my mind here. So some of you may have heard this in your science classes on how the Earth was formed, right? Theoretically, there was this other planetary-sized object called Theia that collided with Earth, and then in the whole collision, the Earth became what it is today, gave it that extra gravitational pull, and the remainder of it formed the Moon. That is generally how a lot of the primordial, or what we tend to call planetesimals and or rubber piles, the difference between some being like the rocky asteroid that just burn off like when they are entering an atmosphere, leaving that trail occasionally, kind of looking like a comet. And then of course you have the one that literally form from the core of the protoplanets that are just massive, made of the heavy elements from gold and everything else. You would have something that is like this, okay? This shape, not freaking Galactus coming your way, an evil cloud wanting to devour the planet.
NASA didn't just miss the existence of an asteroid, they missed the existence of an undiscovered planetoid. This thing is fucking Planet Nibiru that was supposed to kill us in 2012. When Billy Bob Thornton said this,
"Doesn't matter where it hits, nothing would survive, not even bacteria."
My God.
He was underselling that
honestly
shit, man.
underplaying the severity. If this thing actually hit, not even the Earth's upper crust would survive.
Bruh.
It would have stripped away the entire upper layer of the planet, down to the mantle. Earth would just become liquid for a moment, as everything ripped into space. They couldn't just have a pretty big asteroid that was big enough to cause a KT-level extinction event. Couldn't even have something twice as big. No, they had to have something 100 times bigger. Yet the plan is to still send Bruce Willis and his team of chucklenuts to blow it up.
You think we'll get hazard pay out of this?
It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? They just had to make an asteroid with the most dramatic size possible without even thinking about it.
See, this is why people love Michael Bay. Yo, how about sense? Nope. Throw that shit out.
Something so big, it accidentally broke the film. I don't care much about scientific realism in movies. As long as the story is entertaining, everything's okay.
Sure.
But man, it's just so funny they made this fake asteroid way too big for no reason.
And oh my god, this scene. Look at this. I'm sorry.
Everything's okay. But man, it's just...
We need to stop doing this one thing, especially when they are trying to invoke some type of realism in movies, that you can just steer your spaceship through a bunch of rubble in space. There is space rubble, okay? There's no denying that. We have put enough stuff in space. Even our satellites tends to become a bit of a hazard out there. But there is enough space for a ship to travel through miles of distances apart from it. I don't understand how the ridiculousness that has been made about how everything is just too freaking tight in our solar system. Even if I have to weigh my words here. Even if an object of this size were to be traveling across there will be space to be able to send a ship through it. Okay?
It's just so funny they made this fake asteroid way too big for no reason. Who knows, maybe they just think you can blow up a planet with a nuke. For any of you Deep Impact fans out there, the reason I'm a bit more harsh on Deep Impact than Armageddon is because Deep Impact tries to portray this comet disaster as a serious situation, one where people deal with real emotions surrounding it. Ironically, the closer to reality you are, the easier it is to poke holes in the story. Deep Impact's logic is like a very clean table. If there's a few blotches here or there, they're gonna be noticeable. Armageddon's logic is like if the table was on fire. All you can really do is just enjoy the pretty flames. Armageddon, not even pretending to be realistic, actually works in its favor. This is clearly operating on a whole different plane of reality. Why do they send oil drillers into space to blow up an asteroid? Because that's the movie, moron. It's like explaining the logic of why these alien robots turn into cars. That nerd locker metaphor wasn't a joke. All of the NASA nerds that aren't this guy are bumbling, unattractive morons.
Deploy solar sails. You'll have a great big canopy.
See, that's the good thing about being me, right? When sometime people will say like, "Shut up, nerd, we don't care about that," and try to bully me, I'll be the one bullying them back. I would not stand for this.
This is a world where the geeks are wrong and America wins, baby. If this was a realistic situation, and the rock wasn't the size of a planet, then yeah, maybe sending astronauts would have been smart. Ben Affleck would have been right. But he's wrong, because this isn't real life. This is the movie Armageddon, a space adventure film where our gang of perverts and degenerates fly around from quest to quest before defeating the big rock. And I do mean defeat. You see, for some reason, the asteroid is like an actual sentient villain trying to kill our protagonists.
Bye, Max.
This is not a mindless chunk of rock. Dottie's kind of like Monster House, an entity of its own, purposely designed by the film to be the hardest thing imaginable to drill. It's a space rock with a spooky cloud around it. That's a subtle way of saying that
Galactus.
this thing is evil. The people who say that you could have just taught astronauts to drill and they would have gotten the job done don't know what they're talking about, because this is an oil driller's worst nightmare. This thing throws everything it can at these drillers, sometimes literally. When the astronauts fail in deep impact, it's because the comet's gases are released once they hit sunlight. In Armageddon, the rocks just fucking explode. Why did the rocks explode?
Who cares?
The movie makes it very clear that the only person that can defeat this thing is Bruce Willis, just like the only person that can defeat Frieza is Goku. They're drilling through pure metal.
Well, technically Krillin cut him in half. We just saw the Destructor Disc, but who the fuck talks about the Destructor Disc, right? The most hyped thing that we all knew in our childhood.
With a diamond drill, and still that barely works. Bruce Willis has to push the limit of his psychic oil drilling abilities. It's like a superpower, like Spidey Sense, or a stand. Only he and his team have this power, and the feeling in their gut to get the job done. Never speak again how astronauts could have gotten the job done. They clearly couldn't have. Watch the damn movie. The Armageddon lore says they couldn't. It's like saying the military could have defeated the kaiju in Pacific Rim. No, you idiot. Only the giant robots can. And in Armageddon, only drillers can defeat an asteroid.
Rock and stone.
Oh man, this is stupid. So, allegedly, according to Deep Impact screenwriter, a Disney president, though he doesn't say which one, just stole the idea of doing an asteroid movie. Like, they sat down at lunch, and while having a casual conversation about the movie that eventually became Deep Impact, the president was like, hey, that's pretty cool, jotted down a few notes, and then he just stole it.
Disney made it? What?
Allegedly. This is how most twin films are made, by the way. Few things here. 1, Disney being shady. Shocking, I know. 2, wait, Disney made Armageddon? Yeah, they did.
Woman with large breasts.
Woman with large breasts.
Woman with medium breasts.
Touchstone is a subsidiary of Disney.
Oh.
Basically from the time when they tried to release more mature movies that wouldn't fit under the Disney label.
It's like how Dark Horse and what they call the other imprint that DC has that produced The Sandman, Vertigo. Yeah, okay, yeah, I see.
You know, until they gave up that idea in the 2000s, let Jerry Bruckheimer go wild. That was my Disney renaissance. In my very educated opinion, what I'm imagining Disney did was look at the idea of Deep Impact and go, yeah, that's cool, I guess, but we gotta spice it up. Realistic melodrama about a comet impact? Boring. Let's explode the fucking Russian space station. That's really what Armageddon is. It's an excuse to have the most unlikely people possible be responsible for the fate of the world. Deep Impact is more like a traditional disaster film, without the schlock. Armageddon stays focused on the main group. These movies are doing two entirely different things. Hey, at least Deep Impact has the better emotional arc between father and daughter. Right?
She left me. She's with her mother. They both got scared. Come, I want to talk to you. I need you.
When it comes to the father-daughter dynamic, Armageddon did it better. Yeah, that's right, I said it.
I mean,
right, look,
yeah.
The relationship between Harry and his daughter, Arwen of Rivendell, is all over the place. I'm not denying that. At the start of the movie, she doesn't even call him Dad for some reason.
Hi, Harry.
I have asked you repeatedly to call me Dad.
Liv Tyler is surprisingly good at playing those roles of like a researcher or something of the sort, right? Within a certain scientific field. She's like stereotypically like just hot, but at the same time like not too much to the point where she gets confused with like I don't know, like a Megan Fox type. Like I hope you're getting where I'm coming from here with this. Like she plays Betty Ross, right, in the 2008 Hulk movie. So like that's kind of a thing she does. Also, she features in Iron Man 3 and so on. Yeah.
Sorry, Harry.
And I do mean, for some reason, It's just never specified. They drop her doing this almost immediately. We're introduced to them having a whole spat where she says she's a woman now and he shouldn't control her, and she says she's gonna quit and they fight about it. Harry almost kills Ben Affleck with a shotgun. But then once they learn about the asteroid, this whole dynamic is just dropped.
Yeah.
The rest of the time he's on Earth, she's like his second in command. Someone he bounces all his thoughts off
ideas.
of. Their dynamic becomes a loving father-daughter relationship. When they leave, she just sits around worrying on Earth. So like, why even have this whole spat at the beginning? Why even introduce them so antagonistically?
Because Michael Bay thinks it's to blow up.
It's because Michael Bay movies best convey exposition through fighting. They had to get all that backstory out somehow. Had to convey that Harry's daughter spent her whole life on the oil rig.
Look, I was raised on Roughnecks by you! And now you get all shocked and shaken when I fall in love with one.
And also is in a relationship with Ben Affleck. After the strange opening, though, I like these two better than these two. Mainly by the fact that Harry's wife is dead from natural causes, and not because he divorced her for
Wait, no, she's not dead.
Woman. Hi, Future Cody here, editing this video.
I remember
I don't
that.
know why I said the wife died in Armageddon. She just left them a long time ago.
Since I reached the age of 10 and became older than you, Harry, since Mom split, why don't you take your pick?
I think
Yeah, exactly, because she was never mentioned. Like, at least she's never shown in the movie. That doesn't mean that she died.
I got my wires crossed with Deep Impact. This project's hurting my brain. Speaking of divorce, Ben Affleck. He is certainly Ben Affleck. This relationship subplot sucks so much, dude, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm being very forgiving towards this film, but you gotta have standards somewhere. I just don't care about these two. They're the worst part of the movie. Like, Bruce Willis actually makes a good point about why she fell in love with him.
Harry, AJ is my choice and not yours.
He's the only one in your age bracket, Grace.
They were the only ones within each other's age range. That's it. Even if they had a great dynamic, which they don't, it'd all be thrown out the window because of that scene. You know the scene. The damn animal cracker scene. My god.
Way down
See, I think that Ben Affleck was like reaching that spot where he was becoming a very likable like stud in Hollywood, right? And she obviously already had made her mark, so just two attractive young people put on the same screen. Were they the same age at that point? How old was Ben Affleck? I don't even want to guess, just in case I end up being disappointed.
They Tony Hawk grind railed right on that line. As awkward as this scene already is, the love ballad just makes it so much worse.
Don't wanna close my eyes.
Mainly because the song is being sung by Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, also known as Liv Tyler's actual dad. Imagine singing a love ballad over a scene of your real-life daughter being intimate with animal crackers. Just kind of odd. Oh boy, that song. The only thing people really remember about this movie. The only Aerosmith song to ever reach #1. So fun.
Really? Wait, Dream On Aerosmith. I've searched for this before. 59. Okay, well, that's messed up.
Funny story about this song. It's April 2020. I'm getting married. Like,
Oh.
my wedding was set for April 2020. If you remember anything about that time, not great.
No.
Everything shut down at the end of March. This was a time before masks. This was a time before any of that. They just told everyone to not go outside at all.
I went outside plenty and dude, I was recording videos of myself biking in Copenhagen while everything was shut down. It was wonderful. There was no traffic, man. The air was clean. The sea in the canals was so bright. The earth was healing.
State public gatherings were banned. Our big wedding had been reduced to just a few people. Like, even the organist didn't show up. So, as a last-minute fix, instead of having the ceremony be played by a piano organ, it was played instead by a YouTube song playlist. Like the phone was connected by aux to the church speakers instead. Played classical music, you know? Overall, went alright. Wife and I got married, good times. But as we were walking away from the altar, going right down the aisle, something happened. The phone that was playing classical music switched randomly to something else. I am not making this up, I swear to God. Somehow, it switched to this fucking song.
No shot.
This exact scene is how my wedding went down. In the middle of an event that felt like the world was ending by sheer coincidence. This movie is forever tied to a key event in my life. Against my will. Just like how Transformers 4 is. Why does this keep happening to me?
Michael Bay and you. Dude, Bay should pay you, okay? You've become his greatest advocate as of now. Like, I've been shitting on the guy for the lack of science accuracy. But, man, you are his greatest spokesperson.
Both movies have something that I like to call the beta asteroid. Basically a test asteroid that hits so the audience understands the stakes. In Deep Impact, the comet splits in two, with the smaller one slamming into the Atlantic, while in Armageddon, a big chunk just hits Paris. Considering this is the climax of the film, I'd say Deep Impact does the scene better. Jenny and her dad, you know, die.
Yep.
New York is obliterated. It has that killer motocross scene. Deep Impact had the worst outcome by far. Every country bordering the Atlantic got hit hard by a massive tsunami. That wave was bigger than the Twin Towers. There is no way Western Europe or Africa survived that. Meanwhile, Armageddon just has Paris get destroyed. Sure is crazy how many of these space rocks keep landing on major cities.
Yeah.
They never seem to land in the middle of a forest. I like that for some reason that Arch survived somehow. While Deep Impact had the better impact, Armageddon had the better sacrifice. I already didn't care too much for the astronauts, and they didn't do much the entire movie other than sacrifice Jon Favreau like this was a game of Kerbal. Harry/Bruce Willis, on the other hand, has like 90% of the screen time in Armageddon, so of course that sacrifice had more impact. It's a pretty good misdirection too, with Ben Affleck thinking he's gonna be the one to press the button, but then he gets pushed back inside and told to live a good life. I like this final scene.
Yeah.
Probably could have gone without the weird flashbacks right before he presses the button, but creative differences. What can I say? While the comet explodes into a bunch of smaller pieces in Deep Impact, Armageddon has
just
the
one
asteroid
shockwave
split directly in half. Perfect two pieces, right outside the atmosphere. Like the distance that satellites orbit, but they still narrowly miss the Earth. I love this movie. And so, Armageddon ends with an object the size of Texas splitting in half and passing by Earth like this was the end of Phantom Planet.
With like the shockwave literally making it down to Earth in like a split. Perfect wave. Man, I'm gonna stop. I'm not even gonna pretend that any of this could be explained anymore.
So, I'm gonna be honest. I had an entirely different ending to this video. Originally, I was gonna bring up a third asteroid movie, Greenland.
Oh, yeah! With Baccarin. Marina Baccarin.
It had nothing to do with this whole twin film thing. It was just a neat asteroid movie that came out in 2020, and nobody saw it.
Yep.
But here's the thing. It's a pretty serious movie. Like, it's just really cynical. The anti-Deep Impact, if you will. In 1998, people were riding that high of American exceptionalism. So in that movie, the government's like this benevolent, kind figure. In just a really naive way, honestly. Meanwhile, in Greenland, the government just doesn't tell people an asteroid's gonna hit. They just lie. They tell all the important people, just not you.
Yep.
What a difference 20 years can make to our perception of the federal government. So yeah, I rewrote the ending to this video. Why did I do that? Well, Greenland's just kind of a bummer. It's a good movie, but it's about people killing each other and society collapsing, and that's not really funny. But who wants to end like that? Also, I didn't want to end this video by planting the idea in your head that if we were ever gonna get hit by an asteroid, The government might not even tell us.
Of course he had to make use of Sonic. Mr. President. They are going into bunkers. What do we do? Hide the orange GameCube is for me alone. Any of you who have watched the channel's videos recently, you will get that reference.
Now I think about it, I'm kind of just ending this video like that anyway, since I just told you that. Thanks for watching. See y'all in 2032.
I can't wait to make Pearl Harbor. Okay. Michael Bay. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I have no more comment to add to this. This was one hell of a ride. Anyways, if you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like and or subscribe button. Of course, please do make sure to go and subscribe to Cody's channel on the Pointless Hub. And I might be checking out some more of his Pointless History Hub. Alternate History Hub. Why the hell did I just call it that? Anyways, wish you all to have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one. Bye.